Check out my newest thing to look at, my ideas machine. If I ever run out of ideas, this thing just comes up with one on the spot. The creatively impaired are finally saved because for only 250 grand, I can get essentially a printer with a built-in AI. Now, you may be asking, Elias, why do you need an ideas machine? Don't question it. Looks like it's printing something right now! This piece of shit wasn't worth it. The Nintendo Direct, a staple for the modern-day Nintendo fan, is Nintendo's way of bringing game announcements and Chris Pratt directly to you. Nailed that one. I feel like Nintendo Direct rankings are an untapped market. People treat these videos like they're children. And I do too, but I'm a horrible father. We'll be using this door to rank the Directs. It has the sign above it, after all. It might as well be the sole purpose of this door. That sign on the door's been there since I moved in. I might as well use it. We're only going to be covering American Directs that aren't about specific games or franchises. I don't want to be here all day, and my ass is not watching a Xenoblade Direct. Though if you've been begging me to cover Pokemon and or Fire Emblem, here's my thoughts on every single Pokemon and Fire Emblem Direct. Fire Emblem! Also, no mini directs. A lot of those are really small, and it just wouldn't be fair putting them next to the big boys. Now, do keep in mind that I am an evil person. I have opinions and a mouth to share them with. The way I view a Nintendo Direct may not be the way you view a Nintendo Direct, and that's totally fine. If you disagree with my placement of the September 1st, 2016 Direct, then that is perfectly okay with me. Personally, and just a little spoiler alert here, ranking almost every Nintendo Direct left me as a broken man and a husk of the former person I once was, so go a little easy on me. I'm brave enough to do this in the first place. Plus, because I don't want to be here all day, I'm gonna skip over some stuff that someone may think is important. I just wanted to go over larger announcements and keep things brief so we're not trapped in eternal damnation. There is 36 Directs in total. I am not gonna worry about skipping over Nintendo talking about Yoshi's Woolly World for the 4th time. We're gonna be drinking Monster Ultra Rosa to keep myself up through this Nintendo Direct watch sesh. I'm not sponsored or paid by them in any way, but Monster Ultra Rosa, available at most retailers near you. Monster Ultra Rosa, the best companion drink for watching Nintendo Directs. So, bottoms up. It's alright. The very first Nintendo Direct on October 21st, 2011 is only 7 minutes long, but it's the longest 7 minutes I've ever endured. At least it gave us the iconic line from good old Reggie Fils-Aimé.
What's wrong with you?
The very first announcement in a Nintendo Direct ever was the ability to watch Modern Family on your Nintendo 3DS or Wii. I can tell you, 6-year-old me was pretty excited for this one.
No way! I'm bored, I want to watch Despicable Me.
And then they talk about the 3DS camera having 3D video for a bit, and this line really confuses me on if this Direct is targeted to either kids or not kids.
Birthdays, holiday family gatherings, or your brother drooling in his sleep.
But guys, that's not all. We can finally watch the Thriller music video with Shrek characters on the 3DS. This Direct is so boring, dude, but in all fairness, it is the first one. The only new things announced weren't even games. But hey, enjoy your stay right at the top. It won't last long because the second Direct on February 22nd, 2012 was slightly better. Right off the bat, wind chime alert, and these camera angles change like crazy. The pacing is immediately noticeably better here, but it's still during that Peach Fuzz era of Directs. Something about the cameras following the speakers make it feel less like a Direct and more of a show that you'd find channel surfing on Sunday mornings. The Direct has Reggie Fils-Aimé on the video title, but like 90% of it has Bill Trinen as the host. It does have an interesting format, with Trinen kinda interviewing members of the localization staff at Nintendo of America while putting selling points of the games in the interviews. I don't mind this, honestly. It's pretty interesting to watch. Reggie talks about Xenoblade Chronicles towards the end, and his lines feel kinda scripted. I mean, yeah, no shit, it's a Nintendo Direct. They kinda have to read off of a script of some sorts. But he sounds like he's kinda sorta interested, but the resident Xenoblade fan in the office was sick that day, so he had to do the lines. But I don't know, he could have been genuinely excited for the game. It just sounds like he's not.
If you ask me, Classic Controller Pro is the best way to experience this title.
Like you would know, Reggie. A bunch of games get shown off as logos at the end, and yeah, that's the end of it. It's better than October 2011, worse than... I don't know, we don't have any other Directs on here. Let's give a quick shout out to the pre-E3 2012 Direct. All it does is go over features of the Wii U and not much else. I'm not going to rank this one. The next Direct was on June 21st, 2012 and was the last ever Direct to include Wii titles. That's precisely where society went downhill. The only Wii game to be featured in a Direct up to this point was Xenoblade anyway. Boo-hoo. Reggie comes to us right from his office in Redmond, Washington to announce the 3DS XL. You know, as a kid, I really wanted a 3DS XL. I had a DSi XL back then, and I loved it. Sadly, though, I never had a 3DS as a kid. This is the first 3DS I've ever owned, and I got it when I was 17, in 2022. Better late than never. A bunch of third-party 3DS games are pushed through or something because some of this gameplay is either from a trailer or another console. Then they announced that Smash 4 is being developed by Bandai Namco. Can't wait, guys, it's releasing in -9 years. New Art Academy game, Kirby's Dream Collection, which was the last Nintendo game on the Wii, Pikmin 2 gets added to the Nintendo Selects line / gets released on the Wii, stuff about New Super Mario Bros. 2, Fire Emblem. Some good stuff is going on here. Some stuff about Pokemon gets announced, and yeah, I can safely end watching here because I'm not a big Pokemon guy. So, where does this Direct get ranked? At the top, because we still have, like, no Directs here. Next, we have October 25th, 2012, and with the Wii U coming in a month, you'd think there's some Wii U titles here, right? This Nintendo Direct focuses exclusively on 3DS titles. F***ing lovely. First game to get some info is Paper Mario Sticker Star, and there's been an accident. Oh god! Oh my god, the Sticker Star trailer is incredibly long. Maybe it's that undiagnosed ADHD talking, but this is literally 2 minutes that can absolutely be condensed into like 30 seconds. There is no excuse for the trailer to be this long. Maybe that's why people hate this game. But watch, this is the sickest cube transition I have ever seen. Reggie tells us that there's 3 games for certain types of gamers. Oh! It's just what everybody needs. Generally, this Direct is just going over games that have already been announced and smaller eShop titles. Then they have like a scissor reel going over games that they just talked about and loads of virtual console titles. And 3 solid minutes of Fire Emblem news, skip over that, news about Animal Crossing New Leaf, and that's basically it. Also, I think Reggie forgot his line here.
And Fire Emblem are coming to the party in the first part of 2013.
Generally, that was pretty boring. The biggest announcement here was a game that people don't really like that much. So I put it under February 2012. It wasn't interesting that much, but at least it had games, which is something that October 2011 can't say. Next up, we have December 5th, 2012, and this is the first Direct to include Wii U titles. We are in for a rough 16 next Directs. Right here, we're actually getting into a great era for the Nintendo Direct. The fun era. Yeah, Nintendo was doing pretty poorly during the Wii U era, but they just had fun with their Directs. This one literally opens with a skit of a Reggie-me following Reggie Fils-Aimé home. Reggie then tells us that Bill Trinan is in Japan and won't be coming back for a while, in the same way that my mom told me that my dog was put down when I was a little kid.
That I decided he must want to spend more time in Japan. So that's where I've sent him. Mr. Iwata? Or should I say, Lego Iwata?
Hello, I am Lego Iwata.
How the f***? Are we just gonna skip over the fact that Iwata was just turned into a damn Lego? Anyway, Lego City Undercover. This is the big Wii U exclusive for the beginning of 2013. Decent amount of Pikmin 3 gameplay is shown, thank god, I needed time to down another monster. Game & Wario is a game where Wario and his friends create 16 games exclusively for the Wii U, or at least that's how this guy puts it. Nintendo's just publishing whatever the hell they want nowadays. First it was Hamtaro, now it's this f***'s games. Jesus Christ, Nintendo's going nuts with the Premier Wipe transitions. Then Nintendo announces the Fit Meter for Wii Fit U. Did anyone actually play Wii Fit U?
For those of you who have been playing Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge, we have some news for you.
Oh, thank God, I could just skip this one.
And for those who haven't played or thinking about playing,
damn it. Oh yeah, Wii U Panorama View was a thing. Tried it once as a kid, thought it was the coolest shit. Now I can just do this with my phone. To demonstrate it, Iwata wears this stupid looking helmet. Then we've got to the point where we're just going over previously announced games. We can end here. I'd say this Direct goes right at the top. I didn't have much issues with this Direct. It was fun, had interesting announcements, and it was a great way to cap off 2012. And on to 2013, where we have a new Direct almost every single month. God help me. The Wii U Direct on January 23rd, 2013 was the Hail Mary throw of Nintendo Directs. Even though it was only out for a few months by this point, Nintendo knew the Wii U wasn't doing so hot, so they basically announced everything they had in development during that time. Look at the home plaza at the beginning of 2013, back when the only third parties to give a piss about were Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, and Zombie U. What a terrible time we lived in, and shouts out to Itchy Heine. Iwata tells us how to use Miiverse, which at the time was Nintendo's new social media service. I would like to follow his tips, but I don't know, guys. I think the website's going under maintenance right now. A bunch of virtual console news. Someone made a typo during the Wii Fit use section. This is why the Wii U failed. And there isn't an actual game announcement until 19 minutes in. And it's a trailer for The Wonderful 101. Then there's news about Bayonetta 2. And then they announced a new 3D Mario game and a new Mario Kart and then Wii Party U. This direct is fucking awesome! Yoshi's Woolly World gets announced, and it's always so weird to see games that have been out for years this early into development. Like, Yoshi's Woolly World came out like, what, 7 years ago? Oh yeah, don't worry about the Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem teaser in the background. I'm talking about Yoshi. God, and Yoshi's Woolly World has been released like twice and has had a sequel. Afterwards, Eiji Aonuma talks a new Zelda game. Obviously, this was Breath of the Wild, but it probably hasn't even started development yet. One of the last announcements in this direct was Wind Waker HD though, and God, I am begging for this to be re-released on the Switch since Wind Waker is a great game and HD was a phenomenal remaster, though there is so much bloom effect on everything. That's probably my only issue with the game though. Xenoblade Chronicles X, Iwata apologizes that there's no 3DS news, end scene. Yeah, this is probably the best direct and will be for a while. Nintendo pretty much announced everything they had in development at that time, and we still have like 9 more directs to go before the end of 2013. So, strap in, watch me crack open another cold boy, and let's go for February 14th, 2013. Wait, Iwata's wearing a Luigi hat. Fuck's sake, we just got tricked into watching the Year of Luigi direct. This is the 4th time this month. The first game news is Miyamoto giving loads of news about Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and then a few minutes about Mario and Luigi Dream Team, then some Mario Golf World Tour. Clearly, these are just the smaller announcements. New Super Luigi U gets announced, then the Zelda Miiverse community gets announced. Clearly, that's what we all wanted in 2013. Then Fire Emblem Awakening and Animal Crossing New Leaf. Do they always announce these two games next to each other? They did that last time. Yeah, the Bill Trinan section is just talking about games that have already been announced and are coming out soon, or not soon, but if this was 10 years ago it would be. A bunch of eShop games get some news, third-party titles, then Reggie announces some stuff, and Luigi's behind him? Get that f***er out of there immediately! The last announcement is Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D. You know what? Right under October 2012. This direct was chock full of games that have already been announced, smaller eShop titles, and third-party games, and it was like, what, 40 minutes long? After this, though, Nintendo took a break from March, but returned on April 17th, 2013. This direct taught me one thing right off the bat. Mario and Luigi are real people. The direct first gives us news about Mario and Luigi Dream Team, then my worst nightmares come to life as Luigi duplicates himself numerous times. This, in fact, was my sleep paralysis demon when I was 8 years old. Okay, forgive me if I skip over a bunch of stuff, because Mario Golf World Tour, fine game, but this is why I'm starting to regret watching 10-year-old directs, because I just have trailers for games that came out years ago. Really? Just now? Yeah, I'm starting to think this was a bad idea. Starting, huh? Shut up, they're announcing Mario Party. Yeah, whatever. God, I remember the days when Nintendo announced games without names. They haven't really done that since 2019 when Zelda Tears of the Kingdom was announced. New Super Luigi U gets more info and you can totally tell it's the same gameplay from the previous direct. Jesus, why are they trying so hard to market Panorama View? It's literally nothing special. Iwata rubs it in the face of everyone outside Japan that Mother 2 has been on the eShop for a while, but it's okay because Earthbound is coming to the Wii U. Maybe that'll ease the pain of no Mother 2 over here. God, I feel bad for Trinan. The last few directs he's been delegated to nothing more than an already announced game announcer. Reggie obviously gets all the privilege to announce Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, and that is the end. I'd put this just above October 2012. It's not like they wasted my time here, and at least there were some new announcements. Okay, only 8 directs to go until we're out of 2013, and then only 22 more directs afterwards. I can make it. I can make it. I can make it. The first announcement in the May 17th, 2013 direct was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2014, and Iwata talks about how good the graphics are as if the frame rate isn't low as shit. I can't make it. I can't make it. I can't make it. Game Gear comes to the 3DS, and they give us info on Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Seasons coming to the 3DS, which they actually talked about in the previous direct. I just skipped it though. In fact, I skipped over most of this direct. Most of it were games that have already been announced. Like, this is the 3rd or 4th direct to have something to say about Game & Wario. I genuinely lost count. Honestly, right above October 2011, this direct had nothing of note, and that is a huge issue for these monthly directs. A lot of them just have next to nothing because they already announced everything like the month before. For example, let's see what June 11th has in store for us. Oh, it's the E3 direct. June 11th, 2013's Direct is actually the very first E3 Direct. Prior to this, Nintendo had live shows where people went on stage and said words. This year, they gave up. Yeah, I mean, being E3, this is obviously going to have the big announcements. It feels a little unfair to compare this to the other ones, but whatever, I consider it a Direct anyway. E3 kicks off with the trailer for Pokemon X and Y, which again, I'm not a Pokemon type, but this was the first Pokemon game on the 3DS. And then, fear is struck into the hearts of millions around the world. Remember that 3D Mario game from January? Yep, that game ended up being Super Mario 3D World, and while the game itself is fine, the first ever trailer of the game shown here is an absolute abomination. It's so bland. The trailer has absolutely no character. It doesn't do anything except let me know a new 3D Mario game is coming. And to drink another monster. Yeah, Nintendo had incredible foresight. A complete 180 comes in the form of Mario Kart 8, which has a pretty decent trailer showing the anti-gravity mechanic of the game. A new art academy gets announced with the sole premise of letting you draw more detailed pictures for Miiverse. They have a bunch of sizzle reels afterwards, one for third parties, one for eShop games, one for Zelda Wind Waker HD. This is a trailer, I messed up somewhere. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze gets announced, then a new trailer for Bayonetta 2, then Xenoblade, then Smash 4 gets a trailer. It's not every day that you see a trailer for Smash 4, so relish this moment while you can. I've always loved this trailer. It tricks you into thinking it's only for 3DS, but then BAM! Mario is revealed to be a lizard person, and he's on the Wii U as well. Not only was this the reveal trailer, but it was also the announcement for Villager coming to the game. The rest of this one focuses on essentially just Smash and the E3 show floor. Yeah, I did say it was a little unfair to put the E3 Directs next to the rest of them, because it's going at the top. They really didn't waste any time with this one. A lot of announcements that would have been a minute long in other Directs are only like in a sizzle reel here. The next Direct was on August 7th, 2013, which is a day before the anniversary of Madden 06. And my birthday. Most importantly, Madden 06. The first announcement was Sonic Lost World. Bad omen. There really isn't that much to say about this Direct. It's one of those that only cover previously announced games that aren't Sonic Lost World and Pokemon Rumble U, which those are the only new offerings in this Direct. Yikes. Right above February 2013, that's all I have to say. October 1st, 2013 starts right off with an exponentially better trailer for Super Mario 3D World that makes people actually excited for the game. Why they used this trailer for a Direct in October and not what they call Gamer's Paradise is beyond me, but at least we weren't stuck with basic-ass Trailer McGee. Okay, I'm getting a little sick of Wii Party U. They have been showing this game for 10 months now. At least it's the last Direct to have Wii Party U. I mean, for the most part, this Direct is yet another games we've already seen bonanza. That all changes with the last announcement being Kirby Triple Deluxe, which is pretty cool. Didn't save this Direct from being largely boring-ish, though. I would say, goes right under April of 2013. The November 13th, 2013 Direct starts out with a sketch of Trinan being told by Reggie to get his body ready.
Get your body ready.
I understand that reference. But then they decapitated him! Oh, thank God. We get one last look at A Link Between Worlds before launch with a 3DS bundle being announced alongside it. After looks into Bravely Default and Professor Layton, these me's are all saying what's been on my mind the entire time. YouTube gets announced for both Wii U and 3DS, and the Direct ends with an extended look at Mario 3D World. There are no new announcements except for YouTube, but it's not like that's a bad thing. Right under February 2013 for me. The final Direct out of the 2013 hellhole was on December 18th, 2013, and we start right off with the trailer for Hyrule Warriors, which even though I've had this poster for 8 years, I've never played the game. Yoshi's New Island gets announced, Chibi Robo Photo Finder, that is not a good sign. After yet another extended look at Bravely Default, we get an extended look at Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This was also the announcement for NES Remix. Hell yeah! And Dr. Luigi. Okay. Rosalina gets announced for Smash 4, a Mario Kart 8 trailer. Not a bad Direct. I'd say this one goes right under October 2012. I don't know why, I just feel like it. The February 13th, 2014 Direct is, thankfully, only 1 out of 3 Directs to occur in 2014. In fact, there's not another year like 2013 where there's a new Direct every month. The releases are more streamlined from here on out, with one at the beginning of the year, one at E3, and one at the end of the year. This specific Direct starts out with the announcement of Little Mac as a fighter in Smash 4, so we're starting off pretty strong in my opinion. Little Mac's announcement is one of my favorite character announcements in all of Smash. The style of the trailer is so unique. It definitely makes up for the fact that the next 2 announcements are just games we already know about. Steel Diver Sub Wars is a smaller eShop FPS title than Rusty's Real Deal Baseball, Pokemon Battle Troise. Son of a bitch, this Direct is like 90% eShop titles, isn't it? Not really, because the other half is about indie titles. The rest of this Direct is just Xenoblade and Bayonetta. Bye-bye. Right after October 2013, I don't know, man. The next Nintendo Digital event occurred on June 10th, 2014, and it's the E3 Direct this year. Starting off with a sketch by the Robot Chicken guys, we immediately get this trailer for Mii characters alongside the brief mention of newcomers to the Smash series, Abraham Lincoln, Elijah Wood, and Ice-T. Amiibo get announced in this Direct, and an in-depth look at the style of Yoshi's Woolly World. Guys, I am so f***ing ready for this game to come out. Enuma is back to talk about Breath of the Wild and how it's a clean break of 3D Zelda games in the past. Obviously, this was before the game was even named. I think they just called it Zelda U back then. It's pretty interesting to see the game have its distinct art style this early into development. The next really big announcement is none other than Mario Maker, and I remember seeing this one when I was younger. I ran to my mom to ask if we can get it on launch day, even though this was right when this specific trailer dropped. It wouldn't be coming out for another year. Then Splatoon gets announced, which was their first new IP since Pikmin. Palutena and Dark Pit get announced for Smash at the end, and actually that wasn't the end because an unknown game is being played by Miyamoto. Hopefully it won't be a really shoddy revival to a fan favorite series. I'm putting this one under December 2012. It's not like it's the best E3, but it had some decent announcements, and it was the first one I watched. November 5th, Hold on. November 5th, 2014 starts off with the announcement of Majora's Mask 3D. Oh, hey Bill, hope this time you're not just announcing already announced games. Of course you are, Bill, I'm sorry. This was when the Mario Kart 8 DLC was announced, and nowadays I kinda just take this for granted since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch includes the DLC. I mean, back when the DLC was new, I couldn't get it. After loads of third-party stuff and Xenoblade, the Splatoon story mode is announced. Listen, I'm a sucker for Splatoon's campaigns. I nearly 100% completed Splatoon 3 around the same time it came out, and this trailer gets me pumped for a story mode to a game that came out over 7 years ago that I also haven't had access to in over 5 years. That's it for the final Direct of 2014. I'd say this Direct is above December of 2013. The first Direct in 2015 starts off with an announcement for a new Fire Emblem game. Oh god. Right after we get Puzzle & Dragon Z as well as Puzzle & Dragon Super Mario Bros. Edition. Then it's announced that Wii games can be bought right from the eShop, and I do remember how late this happened. Even back when I was like 9 when this happened, I still thought, oh wow, they're just now doing this? Bill jabbers on about Amiibo, Splatoon, and the Splatoon site has some pretty neat announcements, especially for the first Splatoon game. Xenoblade Chronicles X gets shown off for like the 6th Direct in a row. I don't care how much I get shown this game, I am not buying this thing that came out several years ago. Bill then yaks on about a bunch of third-party titles, then the new 3DS XL gets announced, which is really neat. Last time a new piece of hardware was announced in a Direct was the second ever Direct with the 3DS XL. Bill comes back and he's doomed to talk about already announced games again. This Direct finishes up with more info on Majora's Mask 3D. Generally, this Direct, like many before, is just games that were already announced. Like, how the hell am I gonna rank Nintendo talking about Xenoblade Chronicles X differently the 3rd time than the 6th time? So I just throw them all in the middle. My feelings on this Direct are smack dab in the middle, so right under February 2014 it goes. The April 1st, 2015 Direct wastes no time before announcing Mewtwo as DLC for Smash 4, which at the time was an insane announcement as he hasn't been seen since Melee. Lucas comes back in this Direct because Nintendo loves doing everything Mother 3 related in the West except actually release it. Amiibo Tap gets announced, which is a pretty interesting concept, essentially allowing you to play older game demos via Amiibo. Then the 30th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. Is announced alongside more info on Mario Maker, which hasn't been renamed to Super Mario Maker yet. I kinda forget how late the name change was made, at least publicly, because this is only like 5 months before the game actually came out. And Bill is back talking about games that haven't been announced. Never mind, he's just talking about already announced games again. But hey, at least he has the privilege of announcing DS and Nintendo 64 games getting announced for Wii U Virtual Console. Indie games, Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem, my right arrow key was really doing me justice through this announcement. Fatal Frame, Box Boy, a bunch of third parties, new Street Pass Mii Plaza announcements, more Xenoblade, more Fire Emblem. I'm gonna skip these. I don't hate Fire Emblem, I just don't care about it. There is a difference. Bill announces Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. They finally let him announce a game. I am so proud of Bill. The second pack of Mario Kart 8 DLC gets announced, this one being themed around Animal Crossing. Then the Direct ends with the 200cc difficulty for the game. Iwata says his goodbyes to us and thanks us for watching, and I gotta thank him back for this one. For those unaware, this is the very last Direct to feature Satoru Iwata as the host. The next Direct in E3 2015 would feature him, but only in puppet form. Satoru Iwata would pass away on July 11th, 2015, and for his very last Direct, I gotta put it at the top. It certainly isn't the best Direct, but it had some pretty good announcements, and even for games that we already knew about, we got some pretty sick news about those. But, as of right now, it is at the top. The Nintendo Digital event at E3 2015 has the Jim Henson Company making puppets to advertise Star Fox Zero. It's such a damn shame the game turned out to be mid as f***, dude. They took longer to talk about Skylanders, which at this point was a dying franchise, than Super Mario Maker. Jesus. Zelda news, no Breath of the Wild, then want to see something absolutely horrifying? I don't know what to say. The Amiibo Festival trailer was a lying, cheating, dirty bitch that made people believe we were getting a new Animal Crossing game on the Wii U to reveal a cheap party game instead. The digital event ends with an in-depth look into Mario 1's development. It's not the worst direct, but the only hype thing in here that didn't turn out to be mediocre or straight up bad was Mario Maker. It sucks to rank an E3 direct so low, but geez, this is horrifying. Right under December 2013 for me. The next Nintendo Direct on November 12, 2015 was the last Direct of the year and kicks off with the announcement of Twilight Princess HD. Then the new Zelda gets confirmed for 2016. It would be a damn shame if it came out precisely on March 3rd, 2017. Bill is back, and this time he's not talking about an already announced game, he's talking about an already released game. He announces Pokemon Super Dungeon. Probably, if it was announced in a Pokemon Direct then, I wouldn't know. After he talks about Super Mario Maker and Splatoon, Bill absolutely gluttons out, but in an ad for Yokai Watch. Pokken Tournament gets announced. Probably, I wouldn't know. I didn't watch any Pokemon Directs. The original Pokemon games get announced for 3DS, and the Direct wraps up with Cloud and Smash. Shit, that happened in 2015? Yeah, this is another one of those Directs that didn't have many big announcements, so I am completely indifferent on it. I'm just gonna put it under the January Direct from 2015. Thankfully, the March 3rd, 2016 Direct is only one of 2 Directs to happen in 2016. It's also the very last Direct to include Wii U titles. Miyamoto starts by telling us that Star Fox Zero is ready. In hindsight, it was ready to be thrown in the trash. Mario and Sonic at the 2016 Olympic Games gets announced, everyone rejoice. The next new game announcement is Paper Mario Color Splash. Hyrule Warriors again, except this time on the 3DS. Metroid Prime Federation Force is the next big announcement. Christ. At the very least, this Direct ends off strong with Rhythm Heaven Megamix and Kirby Planet Robobot. Above January 2015. The next Direct takes place on September 1st, 2016 and is exclusively focused on 3DS titles. It starts with Bill going missing and taking Reggie's 3DS with all the 2017 games on it. Pokemon, moving on. Mario Maker for the 3DS. I bought this used for like $1.50. Mario Party Star Rush? Sure. New Street Pass games? Sure. Zelda 30th anniversary stuff gets announced, Skyward Sword getting added to the eShop for $20, glad they didn't triple the price for the same game, at least not yet. The last 3 announcements ended up being Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World, Mario Sports Superstars, and Hey Pikmin. Put it under the last one, whatever. 2016 sucked, both Directs were pretty mediocre. At least 2017 is a much better year, though. The first Direct of 2017 fell on April 12th and is the first Direct with the current headlines format that Directs have to this day. Premiering about a month after the launch of the Nintendo Switch, this is also the very first Direct to include Nintendo Switch titles. If my memory serves me right, this was the first Direct I watched live. I was very late to the party, forgive me, but I have a very distinct memory of watching this one in a garage. Why that specific memory? I don't know. All I know is that I watched this trailer for Hey Pikmin in a garage. The first new title to be announced was Miitopia, which for some reason I always remember being a 2016 game. I just assumed that when they re-released the game for the Switch in 2021 that it was a game from 2016. I mean, it technically is. The game was released in Japan on December of 2016, but the worldwide release was in July of 2017. After some more 3DS headlines, Nintendo gave a 7-minute look at ARMS. It's funny how Nintendo just completely abandoned ARMS like after a year, like they do with literally every other game. It might be more sad than funny actually. I'm probably just really f***ed up. Watching 21 Nintendo Directs and having 13 more to go does something to a man. Minecraft for the Switch gets announced. If there was a game I loved back then but am completely indifferent towards nowadays, it's Minecraft. Remember when Arcade Archives was something to give a damn about? Now it's like, yeah, they stopped pumping 5 of these an hour like 2 years ago, so we're post-oversaturation at this point. Flip Wars gets announced. That's one for a game everyone definitely remembers. This was before it had the name Flip Wars. There is some pretty cool third parties here. Sonic Mania, Monopoly, Rayman Legends, Payday 2, Namco Museum. It's easier to appreciate the third-party titles when they're not all lumped together in one segment, and that's something I like with the current format of Directs. It's much easier to appreciate most of the games that get announced. Like the Nintendo Switch dock, that's my favorite game! The end of this Direct goes over a bunch of Splatoon 2 news, especially announcing the Salmon Run mode, which is my absolute favorite mode in the entire series. I'd say this Direct was pretty good. Nintendo finally found a format that works perfectly for the Nintendo Direct. In fact, it's hard to believe that this specific Direct was almost 6 years ago because it's in first. What this Direct did for the rest of eternity cannot be understated. I genuinely think this Direct is the most influential out of all of them. The next Direct would take place on September 13th, 2017. It starts with a look at Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, then the first headline is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga for the 3DS. The first big announcement was Mario Party the Top 100. God, I somehow always forget the 3DS just didn't die alongside the Wii U. I guess that's an effect of me just not having one throughout its life, but I did watch the 2017 Direct, so how these went under my radar is beyond me. The first Switch announcement is 8 minutes about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Maybe this is why I don't care about Xenoblade much, they wasted my time when I was 12 years old. Skyrim, Doom 2016, and Wolfenstein 2 got announced for the Switch in this Direct, at least the latter two were announced for the first time. Skyrim made an appearance in the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer almost a year before this Direct, though we knew nothing about it until this Direct, and Doom and Wolfenstein were pretty cool to see on the Switch. This Direct was when Kirby Star Allies got names. Before this, it was announced at E3 2017 as just Kirby. How is this game almost 5 years old? I've had it since launch. The end of the Direct changes host from Yoshiaki Koizumi to Yoshiaki Koizumi so that he can share loads of info regarding Super Mario Odyssey, which was releasing a month after this Direct. Listen, back then, Odyssey was like the coolest game ever for me, and it's certainly in my top 5 games. And that's the end of the Direct. This is going under the Wii U Direct from 2013. Do I have more to say about this and the following Directs because I was there? Yes. Am I looking at these Directs through rose-tinted glasses? No, I have 20/20 vision, but thanks for the concern about my optical health. The next Direct was on March 8th, 2018. We start with WarioWare Gold getting some info. If I remember correctly, it was announced via a mini Direct earlier that year. The remake of Luigi's Mansion 1 on the 3DS was announced here, and it still is crazy to me just how the 3DS was getting hard-hitting titles like this, especially a year into the Switch's life, but the 3DS side only lasts like 6 minutes out of 34 minutes. For the Switch, we get stuff like Okami HD, Sushi Striker, Dark Souls, Mario Tennis Aces, and Undertale. That was an insane announcement back then. Nowadays, pretty much every indie title gets squirted out on the Switch out of obligation, but Undertale was a pioneer. This was back when we were clamoring for some indies like Cuphead to come out on the Switch. South Park gets some announcements, which it is probably the last thing you would ever expect from a Nintendo Direct. Hyrule Warriors again, but this time on the Switch. I still have never played it. The Octo expansion for Splatoon 2 was announced as the final announcement, and hey, this is one of the coolest things Nintendo has ever made in my opinion. Again, I love the campaigns in Splatoon, so Octo expansion was a very pleasant surprise.
Oh, well, actually, we have one more announcement.
Oh, never mind, it's not over. Say what you will, this is the best announcement in any Direct ever. I remember this one like it was yesterday too. I was so excited for this, my mom told me to shut up. Second place, need I say any more? Things are actually looking up for the Nintendo Direct. The last few ones have been heavy hitters, and all that momentum comes crashing into a brick wall because here's the E3 2018 Direct. If you're not a Smash fan, this Direct was incredibly mediocre. If you are a Smash fan, this Direct was absolutely incredible. I almost want to consider it a Smash Brothers Direct because like 16 out of the entire 42 minutes is actually about non-Smash related things. Because of that, I'm just gonna get through with things pretty quickly here. The Direct starts with Daemon X Machina. Because what the f else would it start with? It's not even a Switch exclusive. While it was published by Nintendo on the Switch, this is the absolute weirdest game to start off not just a Direct, but an E3 Direct. Pokemon Let's Go is announced, then Super Mario Party, then Fire Emblem, then my favorite announcement here, Fortnite. This port is what got me into the game. Some indies, a sizzle reel of upcoming and already released games, that's it for not Smash. But here is Smash. Sakurai shows a fighter roster video before saying f that, everyone's returning because no way would Snake be in a sane Smash game. Can you believe how the second Direct was announcing Smash 4? Look how far we've come. And we still have 10 more left. The final announcement was Ridley coming to the game, which was insane how he was one of the most requested fighters. This one sucks. If it weren't for Smash, this would be one of the worst Directs ever. Actually, Smash doesn't help. This is one of the worst Directs ever. Apologies to Smash, that showing was phenomenal, but if we're ranking this based on how much of a Direct this Direct was, yeah, it's going under August 2013 for me. The final Direct of 2018 starts pretty strong with Luigi's Mansion 3. This is also the first Direct to have Shinya Takahashi as the host, who's pretty much hosted almost every Direct since this one. Remember how the very first Direct was about the 3DS? Well, the ride is over with this one, since the last 4 3DS announcements in a Nintendo Direct ever were Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, a reminder for Luigi's Mansion, and Yokai Watch Blasters. Godspeed, you incredible handheld. The first new game announcement for the Switch was New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which is the absolute worst way to play New Super Mario Bros. U. I never liked the inclusion of Toadette, and I still don't. It essentially ruins 4-player multiplayer. Doesn't matter though, as we get Katamari Damacy Reroll. Yeah, Katamari isn't the most Nintendo exclusive franchise, but this was a wicked third party to have on the Switch. Then, Switch Online news, Town working title, god I hope that's just a working title. Yoshi's Crafted World, which is announced as just Yoshi at E3 2017. Then a bunch of third parties, closing with Isabelle being added to the Smash Ultimate roster. Then closing with Animal Crossing being announced for 2019. Yeah, this one was pretty alright. It wasn't the biggest or the most bombastic direct, but it also wasn't a bad one. I'd say this one goes right under E3 2014 for me. The first direct in 2019 was on February 13th and started off with Mario Maker 2. It was probably the most sterile Mario Maker trailer out there, except they announced slopes, which were a highly requested feature for the first Mario Maker. We're kind of back to nothing of note being announced up until Deltarune being announced for the Switch. The only things that caught my eye were the DLC for the Switch port of Captain Toad, Dragon Quest, and Tetris 99. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered was an interesting announcement, definitely not a third party you see every day. Astral Chain, and the direct wraps up with the remake of Link's Awakening being announced. I didn't really think much of this direct. It's not like absolutely nothing was announced like the grand majority of 2013, but also nothing was really eye-catching. I'm putting this one under April of 2013. The E3 2019 Direct starts off with the announcement of Dragon Quest's Hero being included in Smash Ultimate. Then Doug Bowser is ushered into the presentation. This is the first E3 since 2004 sans Reggie. He retired from his position as president of Nintendo of America earlier in the year, giving the job to Doug. Doug kicks off an extended look at Luigi's Mansion 3, and after that, honestly, it's just like old shit until the halfway point when No More Heroes 3 gets announced. That one really stupid and bad Contra game gets a trailer, then Daemon X Machina again, Jesus Christ, Nintendo. Was there like one guy who really liked Daemon X Machina paying them to keep putting it in? I don't get why this game keeps popping up. I just don't. Cadence of Hyrule was pretty neat to see since it's an indie game with the Zelda IP. Then we have Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. The funny thing is, those Olympics were pushed back a year, so this game is about an event that technically didn't happen. A trailer for Animal Crossing New Horizons announcing the delayed release date of March 20th, 2020. I wish I enjoyed you. Sizzle reveal, Banjo-Kazooie and Smash, which was one of the greatest character reveals for Smash in my opinion. Then the direct ends with the sequel to Breath of the Wild getting announced. Overall, it's decent. It doesn't really get good until the end with the 1-2 punch of Banjo-Kazooie and Zelda, but it's better than a lot of other directs in my opinion. I'm gonna put it above September 2018. The final direct of the entire decade took place on September 4th, 2019, and kicks off with a trailer for Overwatch. Out with a whimper, as they say. After some looks at other games such as Luigi's Mansion 3, Little Town Hero, which thank God they didn't include working title in the final title, and Return of the Obra Dinn, we got Terry Bogard announced as a fighter for Smash. Pete Hines from Bethesda announces the remaster of Doom 64 coming to Switch, which was pretty cool because Doom 64 is a wicked game in the series. Now, he also says it's coming in November of 2019. For some reason, they delayed it to March 20th, 2020 so it can release alongside Doom Eternal, and then Doom Eternal didn't release on the Switch until December of 2020. Some Pokemon info, then Super Nintendo Switch Online gets announced, which is probably one of my most played titles on the Switch. Sizzle reel, Animal Crossing, close with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Not bad, nothing really spoke to me except for Doom though. Right under February's direct for me. There was not a single direct from the last one up until February 17th, 2021. There's a reason for it, though. Oh, my uncle died. He worked at Nintendo similarly to everyone else's uncle in elementary school. The first direct of the 2020s was, on February 17th, 2021, and it started out with Xenoblade's Pyra being added to Smash. This announcement was a little weird. I'm not one to talk about the character itself, but this was the first direct in almost a year and a half. Opening it with this seems a little underwhelming. In fact, that's my sentiment with this whole direct. The first headline ends up being Fall Guys. The game ended up not releasing on Switch until June of 2022.
You have 22 minutes before the solar system is destroyed.
Thank God, somebody put me out of my misery. This announcement for Outer Wilds is cool, but even in 2021, that was that period where the Switch was 4 years old, and a new third party like this coming to Switch really isn't surprising. However, the return of the Famicom Detective Club series was really neat to see. I am not a visual novel guy at all, but these games were remakes of actual games on the Famicom Disk System. Mario Golf Super Rush was a cool announcement, but a really underwhelming game. Neon White is a pretty cool indie. I know people love this game, but the main reason I know about it is because the main character has the same voice actor as Spike in Cowboy Bebop.
Why do they need assassins in heaven? to do someone's dirty work. Well, that's a real shame. But we're not cops and we're not from some charity organization. Sorry, lady, but we don't protect or serve. This is strictly business.
DC Superheroes Girls Teen Power was, yeah, sure, I know it's published by Nintendo, but it's such a weird announcement to put smack dab in the middle of a direct. And yeah, here's Miitopia on Switch, which is why I kept thinking this game released in 2016. Long ass trailer for Triangle Strategy, then Knockout City gets announced, which is actually shutting down soon. It's a shame, I thought it was a pretty fun game. Huge announcement for Skyward Sword HD, which if you remember released on the Wii U for 20 bucks. It released for $60 on the Switch. Then the direct ends with Splatoon 3. This one's going right under September of 2019. It's 50 minutes long, had an overpriced port, and at the end was a sequel which, at the time, made no sense for me. Next is E3 2021. Oh my god, it's E3 2021. Wait, I already talked about this! Oh, thank God. Yeah, back when E3 2021 was a relatively new thing, I did cover Nintendo's Direct from that time. I'll go over this pretty briefly. Kazuya from Tekken and Smash, Monkey Ball Banana Mania, Mario Party Superstars, then Metroid Dread, which was wild to everyone except me. I showed a great deal of excitement for the game, but to my dumb 15-year-old brain, I didn't understand why this announcement was so important until it hit me. Not only was this the first new 2D Metroid since Fusion on the GBA, but Dread was a game that's been constantly getting rumored and teased by Nintendo ever since Fusion came out. All I thought about it was, yeah, the name's cool. I thought WarioWare was a cooler announcement. I don't even really like Get It Together that much. Shin Megami Tensei 5 got a trailer which hadn't seen any info since 2019 and was one of the games announced alongside the Nintendo Switch unveiling in 2017. Doom Eternal Ancient Gods Part 1 was announced for the Switch like 3 months after Part 2 was released. It's not that significant of an announcement, I'm just a Doom fan and thought it was funny. New Mario plus Rabbids, which was leaked prior to this direct, Advance Wars Remake, a new Zelda Game & Watch was announced, wrap up with a trailer for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which was still unnamed at this point. Let's put it right above E3 2019. September 23rd, 2021 starts with Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak being announced. The one Monster Hunter fan I know absolutely hates this game. The announcement for the announcement of the final Smash Ultimate character was announced here like 10 minutes into the direct, and then the first big announcement is, oh hey, Game of the Year 2022. I love Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and this trailer had me in every sort of shock imaginable. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. I mean, yeah, it's a 3D Kirby game, like what, 20-something years after Kirby 64 came out, which was a 2.5D game. This being the first 3D Kirby game made the announcement so crazy to me. I was so excited, I bought my copy a day before launch. And Animal Crossing Direct was announced like a year after everyone collectively stopped caring about New Horizons. Nintendo 64 was announced for Nintendo Switch Online's new expansion pass alongside yeah, Nintendo's biggest competitor in the 90s became their bitch in this direct. Sizzle reel, then we get Mario movie announcements with iconic Nintendo characters like Chris Pratt and Seth Rogen. This isn't like one of the best announcements in a direct, but it's one of the funniest. Like, I think everyone lost their shit when this happened. Splatoon, Bayonetta 3, which hadn't been seen since E3 2017. Neat. Then that's the end of 2021. If I was biased here, I'd put this one near the top, but I'm not biased, so this one goes just above December of 2012 for me. There was some good stuff announced here, and the Mario movie announcement was top tier direct moment. February 9th, 2022 starts off with an announcement for Fire Emblem Warriors, then No Man's Sky, then a new Mario Strikers game. They sadly screwed this one up too. Then the first big announcement is Splatoon 3's Salmon Run. We then get an in-depth look at Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which they already sold me on a game I bought almost a year ago. MLB The Show 2022 gets announced to Switch, which was a PlayStation exclusive series for the longest time. In fact, it's actually a Sony developed series that went multi-plat the year before on Xbox. Kingdom Hearts, the whole series, gets announced for the Switch as cloud versions because they need the cloud to play a PS2 game. Klonoa gets announced for Switch, then oh my god. This was such an awesome announcement at the time because Valve hadn't released a console port of any of their games since like CSGO on the Xbox Live Arcade. And they chose Portal and Portal 2. It would have been cooler to see like Half-Life or an updated version of the orange box, but I'm not complaining about this one since Portal 2 is actually my favorite game of all time. I don't have the Switch version, but it's still cool to see. Nintendo Switch Sports was announced, which was a sequel to Wii Sports. It's cool to see, but they should have released this in like 2017 in my opinion. Launch users such as myself were stuck with 1-2 Switch for the longest time. Earthbound got announced for Switch Online, which was inevitable, but this announcement had me stoked at the time. The Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Pass was announced, then ends with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If I was biased here, I'd put this one near the top, but I'm not biased, so this one goes just above December of 2012 for me. There was some good stuff announced here, and the Mario movie announcement was top tier direct moment. The second to last Direct was on September 13th, 2022, and if you ask a normal person about this Direct, they'd probably say it was fine. Ask a farmer about it, though. They put Banjo in Smash? Wrong one. They got what kind of games? Yeah, I watched this in school, so I didn't notice how many farming games there were, but there were a lot of farming games here. Mario Party got announced for Switch Online alongside GoldenEye, which was insane to see after like 25 years, then Pikmin 4, and it looks really good too. As of now, the game still isn't out, but it's slated for a July release date, and I cannot wait to play it. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, cool, then this one ends with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, that was pretty alright. Had some cool announcements, but generally this Direct wasn't like the best of all time. It still was pretty good though, so I'm gonna put this right under the last one. The last Direct on February 8th, 2023 was not even a month ago, so I'm just gonna go over this one real quick. So, let's crack open one last monster can, and here we go. New trailer for Pikmin 4, Samba de Amigo was an underrated announcement, Ghost Trick, which I saw people on Twitter lose their mind over, Splatoon 3 DLC, which has Inkopolis Plaza from Splatoon 1 and a campaign set in Inkopolis Square, We Love Katamari Reroll, then Game Boy gets announced for Switch Online, and GBA for the expansion pass, Metroid Prime Remastered got Shadow Drop, then Wave 4 of the Mario Kart Booster Pass adds Birdo, and it ends exactly like September 2022 with a trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. Wow, that was all of them. I can't believe I talked about every single Nintendo Direct. As you can see, we have April 12th, 2017 at the top, and November 21st, 2011 at the bottom, which is the first Direct. I feel a little sleepy though. Really rough few days in the hospital. I got a kidney stone from all those monsters that I drank, and it was so big, it exploded my kidney. But am I a better man for having watched every single Nintendo Direct? No, I think I'm worse. I'm mentally unstable as all hell, caffeine withdrawal is hitting like a bitch, I'm down a kidney, and I don't think I can get my life back from before this stunt happened. Oh, it's my old phone.
Hey Elias, it's your uncle. I work at Guinness World Records now, and I'm here to announce that you just won the world record for raddest kidney stone.
Oh, thank God you're alive. I was worried for the past 3 years that I'd have to pay for your 36th funeral out of pocket.